Real quick, I am currently running a giveaway until the end of January for a Link's Awakening amiibo, with the option to be signed by myself. The link to enter is in the description. Enjoy. The main character of the Legend of Zelda series, Link, is without a doubt one of the most iconic and loved characters in the fantasy and adventure genre of video games. This hero in green who wields the Blade of Evil's Bane and possesses the power of the Triforce has been around since the 80s, back in the days of the Nintendo Entertainment System, which was home to the first installment of the Zelda series, The Legend of Zelda. Whether you have only played the latest installment, Breath of the Wild, or have been a fan for years, possibly even decades, and played a bunch of installments like the classics Ocarina of Time and A Link to the Past, or, in my opinion, the best game in the Zelda series, Twilight Princess, you will be no stranger to items. In a sense, items are the heart and soul of a Zelda game. They are one of the most important mechanics in these games, especially in pre-Breath of the Wild games. Other than Link's sword and shield, items are what he has to traverse the land and defend himself with. This is especially important in games which have enemies that can only be defeated by a certain item or a specific range of items. Over the 19 mainline installments, Link has had hundreds of individual items. With that comes some of these items getting recognized by fans as iconic or important to the series, but also has the opposite effect for some. Many items do get forgotten, some of which don't really deserve to be, as they can be incredibly awesome or unique or powerful items. Today, joined by Dr.Wily, we are going to uncover and discuss 5 Forgotten Zelda items. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as according to YouTube, only 10% of views are from subscribers. So be sure to subscribe and let's get into the list.
Number 5. The Great Fairy Sword. Opening up our list takes us to the fan-favorite Majora's Mask, undoubtedly the most creepy and scary game in the series, especially in the fantastic side quest department. Now, all of that aside, we are going to look at an item that is actually quite hard to obtain. If you've played Majora's Mask, you will know there are a few swords you can get your hands on. Most notably the chain of swords you can get from the mountain smithy, if you choose to upgrade your sword, which can unfortunately take multiple days. However, if you're able to collect all those pesky and well-hidden stray fairies within the Stone Tower Temple, and take them all the way to the Great Fairy located in Ikana Canyon, she will reward Link with the Great Fairy Sword. This blade is incredibly powerful. It pretty much outdoes every other weapon in the game. It's also so big that it requires 2 hands, meaning Link cannot have his shield out while using this powerful blade. Now, while that may seem like a disadvantage, the Great Fairy Sword deals 4 times the amount of damage the regular Kokiri Sword can, making it the most powerful weapon in the entire game, alongside the Fierce Deity Sword, which often takes the spotlight over the Great Fairy Sword. The reason why this awesome blade gets forgotten is primarily because not many players go to the efforts of collecting all those tedious stray fairies, but those who do get an amazing reward.
Number 4. The QUAKE Medallion. Here is one for the more long-time and hardcore Zelda fans. This item can be found in A Link to the Past, the 3rd installment to the series. At first glance, this seems like but a mere medallion, but once Link manages to get his hands on it, you'll realize it's so much more. Later in the game, Link can reach the Lake of Free Omen. This is where the medallion can be acquired. You will see a circle of stones in the water. It doesn't make that much sense, but Link must throw, specifically, a skull into the water in order to disturb the catfish that lives there. And if that isn't weird enough, the catfish then offers Link the QUAKE Medallion in return for being left alone. Bizarre, I know. Regardless of how odd acquiring the medallion is, the item itself is honestly one of the most powerful and awesome items in the series due to its ability. If you haven't guessed from the name already, the QUAKE Medallion has the ability to cause an earthquake. A literal earthquake. The entire ground begins to shake, rocks roll down mountains and cliffs, and the entire kingdom is just left shaking for a few seconds. This is all done by Link plunging his sword into the ground. As long as he has that medallion, this earthquake effect will occur. This comes in handy for a few reasons too. It will flip the ground-based enemies over, causing them to die or turn into slime, cause items to drop from trees which would normally be found by running into said trees with the Pegasus boots individually, and is even used to open up the entrance to Turtle Rock, the 7th dungeon in the Dark World and the 11th in the entire game. This item can often be overlooked and forgotten due to the fact it only has one real purpose, or necessary purpose, entering Turtle Rock, but it is definitely one of the most awesome items in the entire series.
Number 3. The Ladder. Props to anyone who actually knows about this item, as it's definitely one of the most forgotten but also fairly useful items in the series. This one dates back to the olden days of gaming, back in 1986 on the Nintendo Entertainment System. It was seen in a well-known game known as The Legend of Zelda, the game that started it all, the game with arguably the second most recognizable piece of video game music in history, second to the opening level of Super Mario. This game is legendary. Whilst not the most technically advanced, it is still a phenomenal Zelda game. It's basically a 2D Breath of the Wild. The developers even took a lot of inspiration from this game when making Breath of the Wild. The first Zelda is an open world adventure and can be very difficult due to the limitation at the time of creating it. However, the game does have some items, and there's one that stands out to us as a forgotten item that serves an important role. The Ladder, also known as the Step Ladder. This item can be found in level 4 of the first quest or level 6 of the second quest, and serves the role you think it would. The ladder is used to cross pits of water, lava, and open drops. A pretty mundane task, but if you consider the time this was created, it is a pretty cool and useful item to have. Very creative from the developers, to say the least.
Number 2. The Lens of Truth. Whilst not the most unknown item to some of the more long-term fans, the Lens of Truth has still been left in the past in terms of the series itself. This Sheikah relic can only be found in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, which now, in the year 2020, was over 20 years ago. The Lens of Truth is a Sheikah creation. The mysterious and unknown shadow folk somehow made this divine magical lens. In Ocarina of Time, it's found within the dark and gloomy bottom of the well, and in Majora's Mask found in the Lone Peak Shrine. The lens allows Link to see things that would normally be invisible. This varies from pathways hidden behind a wall, chests and objects that are invisible, and even the boss Bongo Bongo in Ocarina of Time. The science behind how this works is a bit of a mystery. It's likely that it's some sort of Sheikah magic or technology. Sadly, the lens wasn't really utilised that much since its two appearances. After Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, the item just seemed to disappear. It hasn't been seen since, but a sort of fan theory I've seen in the comments is that we might dig it up in the Breath of the Wild sequel, but that's a bit of a long shot and just a random fan theory. Either way, this mysterious and intriguing item has for the time being been forgotten in the Zelda series. Number 1. The HAWKEYE. Finally, a pick from my favourite video game of all time, Twilight Princess, the game where Link begins as nothing more than a farmer boy from the distant province of Ordonia. This item can be obtained in Kakariko Village, a peaceful little settlement at the foot of Death Mountain. After Link takes on the game's second dungeon, the Goron Mines, which are on top of Death Mountain, he can return to Kakariko Village to take on Talo and Malo's archery game.
This is basically some target practice around Kakariko Village. Once Link completes it, which, let me tell you, is surprisingly hard when you get to the last target, as it's so far away, a piece of heart will become available to Link. But more importantly, the HAWKEYE will become available for purchase within the Malo Mart in Kakariko Village. It will cost a whopping 100 rupees, but it's certainly worth it. because this item is essentially a scope for Link's bow. It's equipped in the same way as a bomb arrow. You just combine the Hawkeye and the bow together, and then get to work.
This allows Link to have an extraordinary zooming distance with his bow, making him a deadly archer, a sniper if you will. The Hawkeye is a one-of-a-kind item and basically turns Link into a Hylian sniper. It's a pretty cool item and one that definitely gets forgotten about due to the fact that it's not a mandatory item to collect like a large majority of items in the Zelda series are. Also, myself and Dr.Wily did another video over on his channel covering 5 of the most powerful Zelda items, so be sure to go and check that video out through the card in the top right corner or link in the description. Thanks a ton for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing for more Zelda content. Huge thanks to the amazing Dr.Wily for joining me on this one. As mentioned, we did do another video over on his channel covering 5 of the most powerful Zelda items, so be sure to go and check that video out. Also, a big happy birthday to one of my most loyal fans, Kerm. He has been watching my videos for a long time now, and it's his birthday today, so happy birthday to you and have a good one, mate. Another big thanks goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters, as your support really does help me to keep making videos week in, week out. Thank you all so much, and special mention to new patron Blake. Again, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and until the next time, I've been Hyrule Gamer.